Hello, guys. I have a little surprise. So, um, yesterday was Poetry Day here in Ireland, and I knew it, and I had intended on sharing a poem, and then I didn't because I got busy, which is also known as absolutely bypassing and totally avoiding and procrastinating. So, I have written poetry since I could hold a pen in my hand. Um, and my poetry was always very, very deep. It was always about like love and longing, and there was a lot about death and grieving and loss in there as well. And I was a happy kid. Like I had two amazing parents. I struggled with abuse and bullying as a kid. Um, and I've had my fair share of ups and downs like everybody else in this world. But I had a pretty good childhood and I've had a pretty good life. But when I was a kid, yeah, it was always really, really deep around love and loss and longing and all that kind of stuff. And it was really profound. For my age, looking back, I'm like, how was I able to put words and talk in the way that I did? And I have like reams of poems there, and I keep meaning to. I'm like, oh, will I publish them? Will I share them? I don't know. Um, and recently, I have made some discoveries that have explained a little bit more as to why I probably was able to write those things the way I did. More to come in more posts in future. I have more jigsaw pieces to put into place, but there's a couple of jigsaw pieces landing, and I'm like, oh my God, I get it. Anyway, I will come back to that at a later stage. So today I have my poetry top on, like very profound and black top. And this is my poem. So this poem was written a couple of years ago when I was engaged to be married, and we had the wedding all sorted. Everything was booked. We were about to send out the wedding invites, and the year previous to that, my dad had passed away. So we were getting ready to get married still. And just in time, I found out that he was living a whole other life. He had loads of stuff going on. He had addiction issues, addiction issues. He had been curb crawling. He had been on phone lines and chat lines and dating websites, and dear God, you name it, he was doing it. And I knew absolutely nothing about it. Like, I knew nothing. During that time, I had developed a weird phobia around us sleeping together, and I had been to acupuncturists and I had been to hypnotherapists and I had done therapy thinking that there was something wrong with me, because I was abused when I was younger. So I was like, oh well, maybe that's coming back to haunt me. And nothing really seemed to resolve it. The acupuncture definitely helped me to feel less stress and more calm, but I still had this really weird phobia around sleeping with my fiance. And it was literally like a freight train. It was a full-on phobia, and I just couldn't fix myself better. And anyway, after I discovered what was going on, it took me about 2-3 months to unravel everything, and eventually obviously say goodbye to that one, and my life changed. And you know what, my life has changed for the better since. And even though it was one of the most horrendous periods of my life, it's still one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I got to where I am now doing what I am doing. It kind of woke me up a little bit. But what was interesting about that, and I'll read the poem in a minute, is my physical body, with the stress of everything that was going on. My physical body totally began to shut down. Like my eyesight, I started to not be able to see properly, like physically could not see properly. I had ringing in my ears, I had floaters, I had lost loads of weight because the stress, I wasn't able to eat properly because of the stress. My memory had gone really bad. So that whole experience absolutely really took its toll on my body. And to be honest, my body is still kind of recovering from all that. But one of the things I discovered in the time when I realized what was going on and all the different crazy stuff that he was doing in the background that I didn't know anything about. I remember I went to speak with a therapist who dealt specifically with sex addiction, because I wanted to understand what the issue was. I wanted to understand what was going on psychologically. And basically he had said to me, he was like, you know, Deborah, the phobia that you were having was actually your body knew. Your body knew what was going on. You may not have realized that you knew, but your body was protecting you from, like, if he was off doing all these crazy things, then, you know, your body was protecting you for not sleeping with him, you know. And he was like, so you knew? And I was like, no, I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I really thought there was something wrong with me. I also had bowel incontinence around that time as well. And what I found really interesting afterwards is it was the total stress of everything on my body. And I just didn't realize that my body was trying to communicate with me. I didn't realize that my body knew what was going on, but I didn't. And so, yeah, so this is what I was going through. Anyway, I wrote a 3-part book series called Coming Home to Me. It's available on Amazon. It includes everything in that. You'll actually get the whole experience that I went through is actually written in that book series. And yeah, it's a roller coaster read. You won't be able to put it down, so leave some time open. You'll read it very quickly, and it's like there's a lot in there, but it's a good read. So Coming Home to Me on Amazon, go buy it now. You can download it on Kindle, or you can also download it to print. So with that being said, having had that nice deep share, I wanted to share a poem with you today, right? So I've not shared my poetry before. And as I said, I've always written very deep stuff, and this was written a couple of years ago, just after all the craziness happened. And I just thought I would share it because it was Poetry Day in Ireland. So here we go. Grab your scuba tank, your snorkel and goggles. I've broken every memory. I've cast and raised it to the floor. I'm trying to breathe just once again. My heart won't do it anymore. I've broken every future dream. I've had to let them go, like shattered pieces of armor, the shards sliced deep into my soul. I've had to understand my failings, fixing flaws that hurt so bad, to find a lost femininity. How can you fix what you never had? I've had to accept I had a blind spot where your dark secrets hid in woe, waiting to be discovered along with more I'll never know. I felt mistrust, abused, decepted. How could I have let you in so deep and never knew the difference or the lies you keep? I've had to leave my body to nourish, protect and safeguard my soul. Upon my return, I found it broken, dark sight and memory down a hole. I've had to push and pull for answers, constantly told there is no more, unravelling yet another knot, each new admission an opened sore. I've looked at and avoided the darkest places which called my name. To leave this weariness seemed attractive, to bow out of this awful game. I've had to make my mind up to enter darkness or see the world, to unwrap and validate new loneliness, to discover self become unfurled. I've had to see the lessons here, I've had to let it go, to move along with good intent, scars deeper than I know. I've packed up and closed our home down, turned the key and closed the door. The end of us, the start of me. What's to come, I'm so unsure. I've outstretched my wings unbroken, travelled lands and seas alone at last, finding the strength within my still fragile self. Trust, fate and love can move so fast, but I remain unshaken, illuminating shadows with sunlight's cast, making new love now more agile by staying present and leaving past. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know below, what do you think? Do you want me to share more of this? It's all very deep. I've got lots more, but yeah, that's my first time sharing. I think it's my first time sharing it publicly, but I hope that you enjoyed it. And yeah, let me know, what do you think?